Spirit podcast with Pyak. No pretense, no bullshit. Just Chris and an employer talking about a real-life business problem. Offer a solution and get a job. And here is your host, Pyak.
Welcome back to the show. My name is Pyak, I'm your host. And with me today is someone who lives in two cities, in Graz, in Austria, which of course is a really beautiful place to live. And the second place where this person lives is even more beautiful and has been ranked by Mertzers as the city with the highest life quality in the world in Vienna. Welcome, Gerald Harzl, Vice President Human Resources at Magna International Europe. Hello, Gerald.
Hello, Chris. Thanks for inviting me to this interview.
Gerald, before we start with the business side of the interview, for you personally, what is the thing that you enjoy most about living in a beautiful country like Austria?
You know, it's really a privilege to live here. I can tell you, whenever we get visits from our colleagues from North America, they really are jealous because the spirit we feel here living in Europe in the first place, but then Austria in specific, I think that's totally different pace of life. And that's the balance between, you know, hardworking, but also have a good time, a lot of opportunities, you know, to enjoy your life, culture, food, different regions with totally different spirits. It's just a great thing what we can offer as a country, and especially Vienna, Graz. These are beautiful cities in Austria.
And I can vouch for this from personal experience. In my childhood, my parents drove me every year to make vacations in Austria. And it's everything that you just described and more.
I hope you are a good skier because that's the place where you have to go. If you like skiing, that's for sure.
I'm good at falling off the skis. So, Gerald, but let's talk about Magna International a little bit. Can you tell us a little bit, summarize what your mission is?
So our mission really, to cut it really short, is to create a better world of mobility. We are working in the automotive industry. We are a big global player. We are under the top three. Not a lot of people know Magna because we are supplying to the automotive industry, and we are building cars actually, but we are not building cars under the label of Magna. We are building cars for Daimler, for BMW, for Jaguar and other brands. And we are, as I said, a global organization, really from North America, South America, Europe, across to Asia, Pacific as well, and employing, if we zoom into Europe, currently roughly 55,000 people in many, many European countries.
So it's safe to say if you own a premium car, then you have used part of Magna's products without even knowing it.
I would say if you really would be looking into driving a car where there is no Magna content, you won't find the car.
Very impressive. When you think about the future, when you look at the immediate next big goals or challenges of Magna, what is the next big goal that you try to achieve, the next big improvement you are trying to make as a company?
So as the whole automotive industry, I'm sure you are aware, is in a huge transition in terms of technology. And to be honest, it's still not completely clear where we will end up in, I would say, maybe 5 years. That's something where we have an idea, but how this all will evolve in 10 years, there are still a lot of open questions. But for sure, the whole discussion about sustainability, CO2 reduction, electrification of cars is totally changing the world of the automotive industry in general, but in specific, the way people are expecting solutions for mobility in the future is for sure different than what we had over the last 10, 15, 20 years. So that's a huge challenge. Luckily, Magna did somehow anticipate this shift, maybe even better than other companies, because we started investing in these new mobility solutions a couple of years ago. And we did position our organization very well in terms of supporting the OEMs with specific solutions to reduce weight, to increase safety, to reduce CO2 emissions. And Magna actually is currently producing also electric cars, hybrid cars, and a lot of technology which is going into the cars. We will see more and more coming in the next years from the OEMs.
Mm-hmm. Really interesting times, as they say, in regard to automotive industry. When you think about the people who can help you manage this transition, what kind of people are you looking for first in the terms of attitude?
Okay, it's obviously easier to talk about specific skills, but attitude, that's a very important element. You know, our organization and the founder of this organization is one of the, I think, famous representative of a real entrepreneurial spirit. So entrepreneurial spirit means showing initiative, thinking about new ways of solving problems, taking on the responsibility, not settle, not getting tired to just follow what was done before, to get better every day in your area wherever you are responsible for contributing to this organization. An attitude to be eager to make changes or to contribute to developments where we make an impact to the company and to the whole mobility sector.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Gerald. So now to look more specifically at the skills that you need. Of course, with 55,000 employees just in Europe, you need all kind of people in all kind of different areas. But which are the skills you value right now the most? Which kind of positions you are looking to fill on a regular basis that are contributing high value to your organization?
Yeah, I think it's not surprising that the skill set did shift over the last years, and even more what we see in the market, because it's not only Magna who is heavily involved in the digitalization, electrification of cars, but for sure in the IT sector, that's not a big surprise. You know, we are looking permanently for guys with strong SAP background in different areas, logistics, quality, HR, whatever. But the real shortage we see on the market, and that's where we are trying to find people every day, software engineers, software architectures, everything which is related, even more automotive cybersecurity, crash safety, and so on and so on. And I think what is important, we are looking for people on different levels. So professionals coming from universities and just having an interest in the automotive industry, as well as already experienced people, but also in the level of project managers, leaders in these segments. So we are desperately looking for people who are interested in automotive and educated specifically in this segment.
Mm-hmm. Just out of curiosity, because I know quite a lot of engineers who come from the auto industry and work in the auto industry, who are thinking about qualifying themselves as software engineers now. Is that something that would be interesting for you as well? Someone who has experience in the automotive industry as an engineer, but wants to go into the software side, or would you prefer someone who goes the other way around?
You know, obviously, it's a little bit easier to integrate people who are already coming with the skills which are required. Mm-hmm. But I had a conversation a couple of weeks ago with one of the HR managers in one of our software departments. He said, we are taking also people who are simply showing an interest. They have a background which is probably not exactly what we are looking for right now, but we are taking also people and let them learn and grow within our organization. that sometimes even, the better way to build people, skill set of people in a way that it is really the optimal fit to our requirements.
Just a side note for myself, that's something that I notice often, that organizations, even when they really became very big like yours, who are founded by an entrepreneur, they are often more willing to develop talent that they find, even when it doesn't fit perfectly to the exact match, than other corporations who are not run by a strong leadership person.
Yeah. I can absolutely confirm this. We have a very clear strategy in terms of intern before extern. Whenever we are looking for skills or for people taking on new responsibilities or manager positions, leader positions, we definitely learned that growing people internally is a much more successful strategy than just hiring people always from outside. That doesn't mean that we do not hire a lot of people, obviously, on a permanent basis. But if we look at our senior levels in our organizations, I think 95% are people who are with Magna since more than 20 years. Mm-hmm. So there's a clear focus. If you commit to our culture, if you commit to the business, and you are somehow passionate about the automotive industry, you have multiple career opportunities within our organization. That's why we also have a very strong focus on talent development and internal talent.
Let's talk about concrete positions. Which are some positions that Magna basically is always hiring for? That's always where to seek out if I'm looking for a new career opportunity.
Yeah, it's really related to the significant demand on the market in general, but it's the same here for Magna. All the people who are educated, skilled in the area of software engineering, software architecture, more and more also cybersecurity, automotive cybersecurity topics, crash safety, test. So all these topics are roles. If people would go on the career magna.com career site, would find hundreds of job openings we have currently in Germany, Austria, but also in other European countries.
Yeah. And I will link to the career website at magna.com also in the show notes of this podcast, so you can click there as well. One question that a lot of my listeners always ask is, okay, how can I make life a little bit easier for you as a recruiter if I apply? What kind of documents would Magna prefer that I send? Because some organizations, they want just a CV. Other organizations want the CV and all the certification that someone has already. Some companies want a cover letter. Some companies don't want a cover letter. How could applicants make your life easier or the life of your team when they apply?
So we try to be lean really in all our processes, and the same applies for recruiting. First of all, we have a recruiting platform, and obviously that's the entry to our organization. So to simply apply, to go through the questions, we try to keep it really short, not to make it too painful for applicants to apply for a certain job. And then the key document is really a CV. And I would say for the start, the CV is good enough. If we have the background information about the skill set, you are welcome also to send us a cover letter. But the most important document is the CV. And if in the process, in the initial screening and review process, we find that this person could be an interested candidate for us, we will connect directly and we will schedule an interview. And if required, then we would probably ask for additional documents, but it's not necessary to load 20 pages in the initial phase.
Mm-hmm. Can you walk us a little bit through what happens after I have applied? How long do people usually wait for a response? How many interview steps are there usually? I guess it probably varies also a little bit on the position, but the general run through, what can people expect happens after an application?
So it may vary because as we are a decentralized organization, obviously we have a lot of local responsibilities, and also the recruitment process is not something which is defined in each and every detail for every division. However, as a blueprint, obviously application, a little bit depending on the job for sure, because it makes a huge difference searching for someone where we are lucky to get 3 applicants, and sometimes we have 40, 50, 60 applicants, so that may take a little bit longer, but normally it is really a response. The first response is coming from the system, but that someone from HR will contact you within, I would say, normally a week to ask about an interview. And then it's almost in 2 steps. The first contact is normally with HR to get the information, to do a kind of a pre-screening. It could also be that it is a video interview to speed the whole process up. And then normally it is the functional department who is hiring the person is involved. And so it's in average 2 interviews at least. For specific jobs, obviously there are a 3rd and maybe a 4th interview as well, depending on the role and the level.
Gerald Harzl, Vice President Human Resources at Magna International Europe. Thank you very much for your time and for giving us a glimpse into the many interesting things your organization does. It's really amazing how much influence Magna has in the car industry, how literally every car uses your services, even though we as consumers never get to see this. One question I always ask before I let you go is there one question that you wished I would have asked you and I didn't?
Maybe I would have wished for, what's the perspective of a person applying at Magna and getting a job at Magna? What's the outlook in terms of the future of an employee at Magna? Because I would have underlined we are one of the probably financially most healthiest organizations. We outperform over the last years almost all our competitors. So that would probably be a message which is also of interest for the listeners of your podcast.
So then let me ask you, Gerald, if I plan to build a long-term career, what can Magna offer me?
I think the most attractive element of a job at Magna is that we have a global organization, a global footprint, a very, very fast changing, very demanding, but also very exciting business with growing opportunities, not only within a function, it's really across different countries, different product groups, and people who started their career somewhere as an engineer or as an IT person. You will find these people in many different functions in this organization. It's simply the perspective, be part of a global organization with global career opportunities in a very exciting segment of the industry.
Gerald Harzl, Vice President Human Resources at Magna International Europe. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed this interview, and if you felt this was useful for you and you want to hear more content like that, I invite you to subscribe to our podcast, the Immigrant Spirit Podcast, and also sign up to our newsletter at immigrantspirit.com. My name is Pyak. I'm the host of the podcast, and I wish you success. Bye.